Okay, so today we are gonna, I don't got too much time, but hopefully we can get started on our taxi AI update. So, if I could kill somebody, here we go. Now as soon as we spawn a taxi, right now it just walks towards it, but it will never jump and flap up. It'll never flap and get higher if the egg happened to land on a platform, so we need to give it some special logic there. So we take a look at our vulture. We've got this thing called time between jumps. Okay, so we've got this just jumped boolean, and if we're just jumped and we become flapped, we change our dy, and then if we're flapped, we only change our dy if we're just jumped, meaning we only do it once, and then it waits till the flap counter gets run out, and then we no longer become flapped, and then if we need to jump, we can then jump again. So I guess the first step might be to go to our taxi, and we can say we could do something similar here. We don't have any dy, so we can do that here. Maybe we'll put it right after grounded. If we're not grounded, we apply gravity. Okay. So we need to do something like what boolean can we do to kind of trigger, hey, we need to be flapping? We can say how about for now we just say we have a thing called jump timer. We'll do this in the initialization phase. We'll give it a certain value, and we're going to say our self.jump timer gets self.jump timer minus delta time, and then we can say if our self.jump timer is smaller than or equal to 0, then we're going to go ahead and jump. So we're going to say, in order to jump, we would just say, let me get rid of these. So if our jump timer is smaller than or equal to 0, then we're going to go ahead and jump. So that means our self.dy gets a negative number, negative 0.5. And then we need to reset our jump timer. So then we'd say self.jump timer would get set to, maybe we can say every 2 seconds we're going to jump. And then we can also set this in our init. So we say our jump timer gets 2, and we'll jump every 2 seconds with a negative 0.5 dy. Hopefully that's the goal. So if we kill one of these guys and spawn a taxi, come on. Okay, let's see if our taxi jumps. Oh. Okay, it's jumping every 2 seconds, right? Okay, so maybe we don't want to jump if we're grounded. No, we would maybe need to jump if we're grounded. So let's just say maybe So let's see this taxi jump every 3 seconds. Yeah. So that's you know, better than what we had, but we needed basically if we only need to jump if our Y is beneath our egg. We don't need to jump otherwise. But then the amount we need to jump is basically till we're above our egg, basically. So we could do a jump timer like this, but maybe let's see what jump every second looks like and see if he actually hovers off the ground. Because we want to be able to go upwards, you know, from the bottom to the top, in case that's... It doesn't look like he's jumping every second. Oh, when we reset it, we need to reset it to 1, 2, so... Let's do a 1 here. Let's actually do a 0.5. Oh god. It's really throwing me off because my other computer that I've been using Vim on doesn't have caps as the escape key just yet, so I'm getting all sorts of messed up. Okay, we're trying to see what a 0.5 jump looks like. Yeah, see how he'll gently rise. So that's pretty good. But we only want him to rise like that if he is in fact beneath our egg. But we also need to take care of our flapping. So like he needs a downwards flap, which we need to take care of too. Because right now we have it so that it sets its viewport. If it's not grounded, it's in a falling animation, but if he's jumping, we need the overwrite that with the downwards flap animation. So, you know, there's 2 ways we can go about adjusting the height of him jumping. We could either give him a stronger DY, or we can give him a faster jump. We're both at 0.5 right now, but we need what? We need the flapped logic, right? So like if we take a look at our vulture here, we've got a flap counter, and we can only become flapped. Let me think how we're doing this. Yeah, I think if we're flapped, we're doing our flap sprite. Yeah. See, look at this. If we're self-flapped, set our viewport to the flap sprite of our vulture. So we need to do something similar with our taxi. So we have a just jumped. Now we have a just jumped that we get triggered just once every frame, and that's when we set our DY, our counter. Geez, okay. So we could do something similar. Instead of saying always jump upon a jump timer, if our jump timer is smaller than 0, we're gonna say go ahead and self dot just jumped gets true. No. Well, yeah, we can do something like this where we say we want to do something different, man. We want to do something different than this jump timer. We want to not do that. I think let's take a look at our culture class again. So we've got a time between jumps. See, we don't really want this. We don't want it. But we've got a just jumped boolean. And if we're just jumped, that's when we apply our dy. Then we set our just jumped to false, so we don't accidentally do that more than one frame in a row. And we are flapped. Now if we're flapped, we take that flap counter down. That's how we trigger the animation. And then we turn it false so that it doesn't stay flapped. Yeah, so we need something different in our taxi class than this vulture class, in that we need some kind of toggle to say like needs to jump, and if it needs to jump, then go ahead, become flapped, apply your dy, apply your flap counter, so that we can decrement our flapped, and then reset our. Okay. We basically want something just like this, but we can say, we can yank this, go to our taxi class, in our, where we modify our gravity, or apply our gravity, we can go ahead, and I just do that here because it's dy. It's already messing with our dy here, so. Okay, so we're gonna say if self needs to jump, nope. Needs to jump. So if we need to jump, we become flapped, we apply a negative 0.5. We set a flap counter to 0.1, we become no longer needs to jump. Because we have to wait till our flap. Yeah, we have to wait till our flap runs out before we jump again. So I'm just going to increase our y so that we could jump a little more effectively. Now we become flapped. Now if we're flapped, we decrement our flap counter, which we set to 1/10 of a second here. So if that 1/10 of a second is up, we're no longer flapped. And we reset our flap counter equal to 0, I guess. We don't need that. I guess it's so that we don't have a negative number there, I don't know. But we've set it to 0. Now, where do we do our, look, if we're not grounded, and not self.flapped, then go ahead and render the upwards wing, and then we can say else if not self.grounded and self.flapped, then we'd go ahead and render this downwards wing sprite. So I'm thinking that next frame is the downward wing sprite, and so that should only render if we're actually flapped. And then we need to give ourselves a couple different booleans here. We need a needs to jump, we need a flapped, we need a flap counter. So we need a needs to jump. Let's just do it. We need a flap counter, flap. You know, we need flap counter. Okay. So we need to give ourselves a couple values here. So we need a self needs to jump. Come on, man. Gets false. Flapped gets false. We don't set our dy here. Our flap counter gets 0 to initialize. And then we just need to toggle our needs to jump to be true at some point. So for right now, we'll just give ourselves a jump timer. And we'll go to our gravity and we'll put it here. We'll say, nope. You know, we'll say our, we're going to decrement our self.jump timer. We do have that jump timer, right? No? What? Let's say every 3 seconds is our jump timer. So we'll decrement our jump timer, and then we'll just say if our jump timer is smaller than or equal to 0, then and this is where we activate our needs to jump. Needs to jump gets true. Needs to jump gets true, and then we also need to reset our jump timer. So self.jump timer gets 3 seconds again. So every 3 seconds will become needs to jump. If our needs to jump will become flapped, which should render our downwards flap animation. It should apply our negative dy. It sets a flap counter to 0.1. Needs to jump gets false, so that only happens once. And then we don't, we decrement our flap counter every delta time. So after 1/10 of a second, we'll become unflapped, which will unrender our flap, our downwards flap, and then every 3 seconds he should jump. And actually, I'm gonna, before I don't do it, in our egg, in our time to hatch, I'm gonna give us just 1 second. Hatch countdown, I'm just gonna give us 1 second, so we don't have to wait 3 seconds. Every time we kill one, and it should hatch after 1 second. That's the one. Let's see. Oh, do you see how he flapped? Every 3 seconds he did the downward flap, which is looking good. Of course, we hit the 1 frame that was off screen for us to see. But if I go into our XE and I'm going to say, you know what, our needs to jump is actually going to get, or actually our jump timer is actually going to reset to 0.5. So we're going to jump every 0.5 seconds, and now we're going to be able to get a better idea of how our flapping actually looks and make sure that's working. Cool. Look at that. That's sick. Whoa, okay. All right there, buddy. So that's busted. I think that's because we don't have top collision because we never had an upwards velocity on our taxi. So what's happening there is we're actually detecting a side collision because we don't have top collision detection on taxis. So if a top collision should be detected, it actually detects a side collision, which technically bounces us, which is why it teleports to the other side of the platform. But we've got the flapping right. We've got the flapping right. We just need to be better at our top collision. We'll need to implement that. I'm not about to do that today because I have to leave, but I'll leave it in our notes and we'll tackle it tomorrow. So we did add jumping, but we need to add jumping only if we're greater than our jockey. But we also need to add top collision to taxi. Yeah. With platforms. Cool. So yeah, we'll tackle that tomorrow, but we've got flapping working at least, which is a decent little start to what we need. So I'm going to say we're going to commit with a message saying taxi now jumping. I'm going to say taxi now jumping and flapping, but needs top collision detection. Cool. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow and we will get more work done.